Pete, we're going to do another edition of Talking Sports here today. But first we have to get this off our chest, man. This is amazing. An 18-foot long oarfish was hauled in off of Catalina Island in California. It looks like a giant snake. Was that the craziest thing you ever seen in your life?
I don't know about my life, but for sure it's today. That thing was big. There was like 10 people holding it up.
Gotta weigh 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, we were just talking like what kind of fish was it eating while it went in.
Yeah, I know, right? Or is that just the baby and maybe their uncles are coming behind it? Strange things are happening, man. Governments are stalling in the midst of action and giant animals are being taken out of the sea.
Anarchy, even in the ocean.
Well, it's about time because let's start over. Let's push the reset button on life. And we'll start with high school football, which is the most important thing in the world. Forget about these oarfish. Give me a break. It's getting good, my friend.
It is.
You're going to be in McAllen this week.
Yeah, I'll be both days, Thursday and Friday. Should be a couple of good games, San Benito, McHi.
Which is Thursday?
Thursday.
Memorial and Rowe?
Yes, PSJA Memorial and Rowe.
Rowe got to win. Backs against the wall, come out slanging.
I think Rowe can win that game. They're getting a great effort out of their sophomore quarterback. You know, it's just classic next man up with that team. You know, they've dealt with some adversity throughout the season, and I think they'll make it.
Well, I tell you what, man, their defense is playing better than people think. And you're right, Bosquez is tough, man. And they've been in a lot of games. It's not like they're getting beat by much, but with only one win in district, you got to make that happen. I think PSJA Memorial is there for the taking. They've had their share of injuries as well. Boy, you look around the two districts here, injuries are taking its toll on several teams.
They really have, and no one can, say that. PSJA is going to get a much-needed week off.
Yeah, man, they definitely did.
They were losing quarterbacks at that game like it was going out of style.
I was impressed with McAllen's physicality. I mean, surely they got some great offensive weapons, but that game was done, to me, physically. And they hit, and they hustled, and they played good team football. And they may not be as flashy as some of the other unbeaten teams, but they're just as good.
They really do know how to hit. I was right by that hit when, PSJA's quarterback.
Early on?
Yeah.
Early. That guy's tough,
it was loud.
Yeah, exactly. It sounded like a gunshot. I was in the end zone at the same time.
It was loud, and you're just looking at it, you're just like, man.
And down he went, the third play of the game. He came back. I'll tell you what, Navarro's tough.
Well, no, I was talking about the second play. That play was really loud also. I mean, it just went, bah! Yeah. That was that, man.
McAllen's secondary hits, they're headhunters, they're good. In fact, that may be the strongest part, although I would say the linebackers are pretty solid too, man. Yeah. 40, Garcia is a good player. Yeah. Gaddis is a good player. Their
defense is overall really good.
And here's the thing about McAllen's defense. You look at the yardage and the monitor or whatever, they'll be in the middle of the pack yardage-wise, but up to points allowed, they're up at the top. They don't give up a lot of points. So the thing is, you can go up and down the field, but if they don't let you in the end zone, that's a pretty good defense.
And they come up with plays in the fourth
quarter.
They
do, man. They've proven it they've proven it time and again. Now, McAllen has San Benito. It's hard to stay unbeaten. I'm not going to preface my soliloquy by saying they're going to lose, because I don't know if they are. But it's hard to stay unbeaten. Now, San Benito was on a roll. They got beat last week. They're going to want to try to prove themselves. I think it'll be a very competitive game.
It should be a competitive game. And by the way, San Benito just lost by 2 touchdowns.
That's right. They didn't get killed.
And to a team who plays very similar to McHi. They run the ball.
Physical team that runs the ball,
Exactly. And there's film out already on Ricky Rodriguez.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? PSJA proved it already.
They tried to stop him, and they did.
But then McHi also has Fred.
And he made the plays.
Who's great.
He made the plays.
Rincones.
I like that guy, man. See, fresh legs in the end of the game. He
came in,
pile driving him.
Put the cherry on top of the, sealed the deal.
Yeah. McAllen, see, here's the thing. Hover's not throwing as much as he did last year, not even close. He won't have the outrageous 2,500 yards or some such, but he threw the bomb when he needed for a touchdown. He threw that out pattern for a first down. He made all the plays he needed to make. That 21-yard touchdown run was 4th and 5. Man, McAllen will go for it. They're not worried about it. They're at their own 30-yard line, 4th and 1. They're like, we're going. You can tell the team has confidence as a winning team when it lines up and says, I'm going to knock you off the ball, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they do that pretty well.
Exactly. And it just goes to show they're being coached perfectly right now. It's, obviously not perfectly, but you know what I mean. It's
well-oiled machine. You watched
him.
You remember we were watching them in warm-ups, man? They're sharp. They run to where they want to get. Their cadence is sharp. Some teams, they look like they just got off a 7-hour bus ride. Sure. But McAllen looks sharp on the field. I don't think they settle for anything
else. I really don't think so.
It starts with them. The coaches demand that they be disciplined and on time and making noise and doing all the right things, and it gets to be habit.
Yep. So it should be a good game between, San Benito and McHi. I mean,
Let me give you a stat to ponder. San Benito only gave up 165 yards on defense. They're getting better. Watch out for 99. His name is Chris Padilla. He's a good player. They got a couple of kids. A couple of kids who were tough. Frank Gardas is a linebacker that's not bad. So San Benito's playing better on defense, and then they had kind of a hiccup on offense. So which team will show up? They didn't get any big plays last week, and they had been living out that fumbles and interception returns and long runs. So they didn't break any against these.
But I mean, so look where too. I mean, he's doing a great job all season. You know what I mean?
He's a good back.
He really is. He's good for 100
Who's
plus.
gonna win East Weslaco? Who knows? That's gonna be great.
You really don't know, and it's tough to really bring that down because that's a city with only 2 schools, and the rivalry,
Hate each other.
The rivalry
They hate each
there
other.
it's
Bad.
East side, West side.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's the Tinaco Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
The one pass will determine it all. And I think it's going to be Weslaco. Based on what we've seen right now, Weslaco can throw the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
East has not. They've got some games where they haven't completed a pass. Can't do that unless you have a really great running game. So they're gambling that their running game and physicality are better than your balanced team,
Sure,
and
sure.
that'll work out most of the time. But when you get to a level of opponent that can do both, and again, I'm not saying Weslaco is necessarily that opponent. I think this game will establish which of those two teams is better going forward, man. Because right now it's almost too close to call.
Yeah. Weslaco East did get healthy on defense, so that's
what
really
they're
good
saying.
for them. You know what I mean?
And they had lost a bunch of guys from last year. I wonder how Juan Anguiano is doing. I'm going to check him out. He's supposed to be a really good player before the season. So I'm excited because it's my first chance to go over to Weslaco, and it's a great setup over there. It's a first-class place.
Yeah.
2 neat coaches. Hey, you talk about personalities. Burgett on one side and Coach Tony on the other. Man, they're 2 crazy men right there. They're liable to come out and start fighting in the front, middle of the field.
That'd be another story, but I have seen fights at that stadium before, so it wouldn't be the first.
Against Donna? Remember that?
Everybody.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 teams who don't even go to that city fight there, so it was kind of
Nice.
cool.
What's in the
Sharyland,
area?
Arlington.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Blowout Central.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this district, though. East has Weslaco, San Benito, McAllen, Memorial we talked about at PSJ North, and PSJ Memorial at Rose. So I guess that's it for them.
That's it, yeah.
How you wanna start the 30?
Well, let's
Doesn't
just
matter.
start by day. Might as well just start by day. Edinburgh North went in, handled their business, and
47-7.
just went at it.
Yeah, man.
Pretty much, I don't know how else you can put it.
Now they ran the ball, they played defense, and they didn't turn it over much. I think they had 2. They had a lot of penalty yards, but let me tell you something, man. Of the 6 top teams in the valley, 4 of them had at least 85 yards of penalties last week. That's just because the games are being called tight. They're not putting up with all the yah-yah stuff. So if you do that, you're going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
If there ain't no warnings, you just need to understand that. And so the team that adjusts better and can be more controlled and disciplined and have more dignity is probably going to get fewer penalties down the road. I think North is looking great. They got Vela coming up the 25th. They got an off week, right?
Yeah, they are off. Yeah. And I guess the leader of the pack, so to say, as people like to say around here, Sharyland. I mean, what more can you ask for? They just came out and.
Yeah, that was a 49-3, third 21-0 early. Well, hey, you know what? It's a great football team playing a team that's struggling. I will say this about Edinburgh High: they can win 3 in a row, and they can get to 4-4, and they can throw that race into a dither. Because if Vela ends up 4-4, which is looking like it probably will, they're going to beat Palmview, and then they got North and Sharyland. And the Economides ends up 4-4. You go to positive points.
Yeah, that was. For Vela, that was a tough loss on Friday.
Oh man, what a great game! The joy those kids experienced in overtime when they ever run that 25-yard touchdown. I've rarely been around happier kids, and it was just like a magic moment. And then 20 minutes later, when the quarterback rolled around the end and got popped, man, he got popped. And lost a fumble is no great shame, but the despair and the disappointment was just as palpable. I mean, it was just the highs and lows. I walked out of there going, this is what high school football is all about.
There you go.
Yeah, totally, man. I was sad for Vela, but I was happy for Donna, because you know what? That's a scrappy team.
Yeah.
They're not as talented as they have been, but they're scrappy.
So right now, I guess it's North, Sherry.
Donna's 3-1. Okay, so Donna will have to totally self-destruct not to make it. They got a couple of La Jolla teams coming up. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be the 3rd team. Now the 4th team is up for grabs. Lincoln's not out of it either. If Lincoln wins 2 more games, 2 out of 3, they can be 4-4.
Yeah,
I told you at the beginning of the year that 4-4 will get you in. You'll have to go through a circuitous route though if you do finish 4-4. Economides has the schedule on their side.
Yeah.
They played 3 out of 4 games against sub-500 teams, 3 out of 4 at home. It's theirs for the taking, but the Bobcats stand in the way. And so how I started this long-winded tone is I think that Edinburgh and Economides on the 24th of Thursday is going to be just a madcap and zany affair because it's going to mean a lot.
It's going to mean Yeah, who gets in?
For years, man, Edinburgh High guys will make fun of McCormick and vice versa. They don't like each other. You don't think that EHS would love to throw a wrench into the whole works, because the Jags are trying to cruise in that 4th spot like last year, and this will be, oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be real good. But before we get there, EHS comes back against La Jolla. They got to win that game.
They do, and there's just no other way around it, because it's homecoming, and you really don't like losing homecoming.
That looks horrible, yeah. It's like,
that's really a horrible feeling.
I can't stand homecoming though, from a media perspective.
Sure, but I mean, nonetheless, it's everybody's there. The whole town's there,
pretty
or
cool.
whoever follows you.
It used to be in the old days, the whole town was there.
Sure,
when it was one school.
But you know, they bring back the classes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, you don't want to lose that game because there are more people watching.
That's pride, man. Seriously,
Exactly.
don't lose your homecoming, and they won't, I don't think. But La Jolla's not horrible. I mean, you can keep saying that. Well, they're 0-20, but no. They actually have some decent individual players. Their problem is they haven't put together the interior lines that they've had in the past. They're not right. So they've got, you know, the receiver Omar Ozuna for La Jolla is tough. He's a good player. This other linebacker Rodriguez, 42, Eric, he's a pretty good player too. So in other words, they'll have some guys that will come out of the crowd and pop you, and you're like, whoa, where's that? If they had more of them, they would be a winning team. Edinburgh has to play ball, man. But they see that they're a little bit injured too. Not as bad as Vela, but they're injured.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the home field advantage will definitely take its toll.
I don't want to be like this soothsayer or anything. We did see an 18-foot Oarfish. If they don't win this game, they should be unhappy. They need to win this game. This is it, man. You talk about backs against the wall. Bobcats got to win.
That's pretty much it, man. I mean,
Jags are at Lincoln on Thursday. I'm probably going to go check that game out. Okay, so kind of made is not in cruise control really, because they still have offensive balance issues they're working through. I would say this is a great opportunity to go out on the road. First of all, you can knock Lincoln down, right? Because if you don't, they're going to be ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because Lincoln, you know, what is Lincoln? Like a one or they got 2 wins. 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in other words, Jags at 2 and 2.
Yeah, they're both.
This is it. They got to win this game.
Yeah.
I think they should be focused for that. You know, they need to run the ball a little better than they have, but I feel like they go out there and get a win
There you go.
on a Thursday night. Out west.
And that'd be good for them too, because they can get the extra days off.
Yeah, I like to go out to La Jolla because it reminds me of when, you ever been to El Saus?
Yeah.
We used to hunt that place like there's no tomorrow. I like the way it looks out there. It's starting to look more like northern Mexico, you know, more like the desert and stuff, so.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing, they give it to La Jolla, they take care of the media out there.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they do. First cab and all the way.
I will always admit that.
They do a good job of that. They can never be as good as when Joe Rodriguez was running Sam Stadium, because he would bring a whole coolers in full of fried chicken and mashed potatoes and barbecue. Paul Canatra and I, was a friend of mine, used to work down there. We would sit there and stuff ourselves at halftime and sit there and watch the game. Unbelievable food. And then the ladies would come up with homemade cakes and pies. All of the mothers of the players. I'm telling you, Sam's in the 80s and 90s was a feast, a buffet, a fiesta, in fact.
Which is probably what leads to the leading cause here in the valley.
I know, exactly. That's why we're all a little moving slowly in the valley here. All right, well, what else do we have? Economies at Lincoln, EHS, Sharyland has Donna. That's the game.
That is the game in the district. I really don't think Donna's going to keep up with Sharyland. There's just no other way around it.
If they do, then it's a monumental win. I like their new coach. I like Leal a lot. Donna has some injury issues too. There are 2 offensive linemen down. Elpidio Yanez is out. Their defense played a good ball game against Vela. I was impressed with them. They're not that big, but boy, they're kind of mean kids. They're always mean kids. Donna always hits. I love to watch that team because they will bring it.
How is their defense going to handle Brandon Garza, who had 4 catches for 100 yards?
I saw that, yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 touchdowns.
He's having a good year.
Special teams for Sherry. They finally came up.
Yeah, 2 punt returns. Here's the deal.
It's rough. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. These guys are just scoring.
He's thinking Sharyland's going to win district, I can tell.
I kind of am.
Yeah.
And I really don't like
I can't
it, but
disagree. Put it this way. Donna's best facet of his defense is his secondary. All right, they got 4 kids who run and 4 kids who cover, so it's going to be a pretty good test. The key is can the linebackers cover? Because see, the thing is, backs come out of the backfield, they come out the X or Y, you know, they come out of the slot, and so you have to cover people at odd angles, and that means kids you don't really want covering people will be covering people. So how can they do that? We will see. It's a busy week in Donna because they're learning a whole bunch of new schemes. They better be playing 5 or 6 defensive backs, man.
They need to throw everything.
Or a couple of strong safeties. They got to do something.
They need to throw it all at Sharyland. And
they've done it the last 2 years. They played their butts off against that team. So I feel like
it was a good game last year. But
yeah, it was until the third or fourth quarter.
Yeah,
right?
Sure. But I think Sharyland wins that game on the road. I really don't.
If they win the district, winning at Donna at North, then they're bad. They're like a greatest of all time bad. You know. Yeah, they're gonna win that game. I think because pumpkin spice has to happen. Halloween has to happen. It's been ordained since the beginning of the year, and it's just going to be an insane night. Halloween. I'm thinking of wearing a costume. How about I can go as an ugly old white dude? Think that'll be good? It might work. I'm going to have to work on it a little bit. All right, so the only thing left to do is talk about Vela. Whether the Sabercats. That's a tough loss, and they showed a lot of defense to me. And they play at Palmview. They need to win this game because then it's the two monsters back to back.
And that's gonna be a tough road. And I hate to be the one to say, you got to look out for the next 2 games. But don't pass this game because
you got to win it.
Yeah, you got to win.
Palmview's a must win, and it's a win. I mean, here's the deal. There's fewer options now with Renato Cavazos out. They haven't found the back to step up and get some carries. So Eber's going to have to run it if they're going to do it on the ground.
Yeah.
When you had him and Genaro, it was like, you got to play both of them, and they can still throw. He can throw the ball very well. Now, he got banged up at the end of the game. I'm not sure how he's doing. Hopefully he's fine, Lopez. But they got a bunch of guys out, man. I mean, but here's the thing. What those coaches have done is amazing. They've plugged in guys that nobody's heard of, and they've been great. Roy Lopez is cold, man. A sophomore linebacker. You just watch that kid. He's one of those guys like Roy Cantu at North. He almost like hurts himself hitting people. He's like Ronnie Lott, man. I mean, he'll just throw himself at you. And he's everywhere. 52. You got to watch that guy.
Okay.
No, I like Vela's defense. I like Deion Taylor, 213.
Yeah.
Big old tall safety took over when Ronnie Benavidez got hurt. He was hitting people and crowing at them and just talking, man. He really helped Vela have some backbone and some intimidation in that game. And that a little bit of that goes a long way. I'm not the world's biggest fan of that, but I think it helped.
No. It goes a long way because as soon as you get into somebody's head, it's over, man. You
get in their face, and get in their head, and you win.
Early, and then you're winning the battle all year long.
He knocked out that kid from Dunn. He was a big kid too, and Deion came up and cracked him. He got a spearing call. There were 2 spearing calls in Vela in 1 quarter. I haven't even heard of that penalty since the 70s. I mean, what are you talking about? It's the crown thing again. I'm gonna go back there. There was 1 penalty for leaping on an extra point that I've seen.
Man,
this
you
year.
get all the.
I do. I get a bizarre game. What leaping? You mean like 7 lords are leaping? What kind of penalty is that? Now, if you're trying to get up on the guy's back to block a field goal, or if you're hoisting him up, that's a penalty. But he should have kind of called it something different, not just leaping. I mean, what leaping? Is it like a split leap, and my daughter doesn't dance?
I told you that crew, man. It's the same crew from Thursday night against McHi.
Yeah, and those guys are awesome, but they just have come up with some new and unique ways of adjudicating a game. A leaping penalty, yes. Oh well, hey man, that's all right.
It is what it is, but we'll be at football games this week again, so.
Where are you gonna go?
It's not a bad thing. I'll stay here in McAllen. Yeah.
You said that already.
Yeah.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
That 18-foot snake is on my mind because that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like a fish. It looks like a snake, and it's horrible. You got to look that up. Catalina Island off of California, which is a beautiful place, to have yielded such a horrendous thing. It really. So maybe some strange things are afoot.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we're going to be 1 week closer to what I consider the game of the year. Of course, I hope I don't jinx it.
Maybe.